How are you doing? Thank you for joining me for another math lesson with Mr. Woodford. Today we're going to talk about a very important topic that you might have learned in the past, and you may have learned it as PEMDAS or GEMDAS or whatever type of grouping or parentheses or whatever people call it, even BEMDAS or brackets. But we're going to talk about order of operations. So please, if you have your packet with me, open up to lesson 2.5, where we're going to dive into this lesson. I like this lesson. I know you guys like PEMDAS too. It's one of the first things I actually learned in math from my aunt that I hold on to very dearly. Okay, let's do it. Now, today we're not going to be talking about parentheses or exponents, but we're going to talk about MDAS, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, this portion of PEMDAS. Okay, so let's look at it. Let's talk about how we use these for. I'm going to mention some key components here regarding M and D and A and S. So make sure you hold on to those very tightly because they are very essential to getting any order of operations problem correct. Let's look at the bell work. As usual, what I want you to do is read the bell work problem, take a second, pause the video if you need to answer it thoroughly. It says this: the admission prices for SeaWorld Adventure Park in Orlando, Florida are shown in the table. If four adults and three children go to the park, what is the expression to determine how much it will cost? Okay. Once again, it says the admission prices for SeaWorld Adventure Park in Orlando, Florida. That sounds cool. And I went there. Are shown below. I don't know if these numbers are exact, but if four adults and three children go to the park, they want to know the expression, not the answer. They want to know what the expression is to determine how much it will cost. And if you look, you see a table below. The tickets for adults and children's prices are there. So take a minute, pause the video to be able to answer that, okay? All right, hoping that you had enough time to pause it and go into it. I'm gonna write out the expression, and then I'll even give you a chance if you did go further than the expression to get the actual answer. I'll show you what the actual answer is as well. So noticing here, they said, and as usual, because it's diving in from word problems that we talked about last lesson, I would highlight or underline the important information. What's important here is 4 adult tickets, 3 children tickets. Okay, that's what's important here. I'm sorry that my highlighter's not straight. Okay, so if that's important, I'm gonna say, okay, well, 4 adult tickets times 78.95 plus the 3 children tickets, my apologies, 68.95, right? This is the expression right here. Now remember, ladies and gentlemen, an expression is not an equation. An equation has an equal sign at the end with the answer next to it, whereas an expression looks something like this. It's part of an equation, but it's not the full thing, okay? So this is an expression right here showing what would it look like if we were to calculate the actual cost. All right. Now, one thing I want to point out here, and why is this related to order of operations? Why would I start off our bell work with this? One, because it's a word problem. It comes from our last lesson. Two, because if you notice, there's some multiplication that needs to happen, and there's some addition, and then there's another multiplication that needs to happen here. Right. I want you to understand something. There is an order to solving this particular problem. And that's the reason why we're going to use this to springboard into our lesson for today. Okay, if I were to solve this, I know I would do 4 times 78.95, and then I will also do 3 times 68.95, and then I would add them together. Notice that. I'm gonna say it one more time. I would first multiply this, get an answer, such as 315.80. I would multiply this, I would get an answer of 206.85. Got the answer. And then I would add these together. Notice, ladies and gentlemen, I did not multiply this and then add 3 and then multiply again, because it wouldn't follow the order of operation. And on top of that, it wouldn't make any sense. If I did that, I would probably get an answer like 12,000 or something like that, some crazy number up here. And think about it, would people really pay $1,200, or I'm sorry, not 12,000, $1,200 to go to SeaWorld for just 7 people? No, no. People wouldn't do that. Even 500, because this answer here is 522, right? Even $500 is a lot of money, but if it goes over a certain amount of money for 7 people, it would be too expensive. So take a second when you calculate things to make sure it makes sense. Now, why is this important? Because if you remember PEMDAS or GEMDAS, M and D goes before A and S. So that's the reason why we're multiplying before we deal with addition. But I want you to understand something here, that these two are at the same rank, right? So they're both like ranked number 3, okay? Where you take care of these at the third step. Now, whichever one comes first, left to right. And I'll mention that again later on in our lessons. But I wanted to show you that this is the reason why it's important to follow an order of operations, because it's the difference between you paying $522 or paying $1,200. And I would really want all of you guys to be better at money. So that's why we're going to dive in, talk about order of operations today. Let's look at the actual visualizing vocabulary. Let's look at the straight numbers itself. So this is us without a calculator, okay? What does that mean? That means welcome to the calculator group, ladies and gentlemen. I will allow you to use calculators today, okay? We're gonna talk about visualizing vocabulary quickly. I want you to take a second, if you can, pause the video again, try to solve this all on your own. This is 3 plus 42. That little dot right there indicates multiplication, 2 minus 5. Okay, so 3 plus 2 times 2 minus 5. 3 plus 42 times 2 minus 5. All right, if you took a second to pause it, I want to draw your attention to this chart over here. Before I walk you through how to do this, this chart is a breakdown of how we do the order of operations. Now, today I told you we're really focused on multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Down here in modeling B, I will show you how exponents work a little bit just to give you a pre-look into it. But I want you to really understand something. Notice these numbers here: 1, 2, 3, 4. Most people teach PEMDAS with 6 steps, not me. I only teach it with 4 steps because there's only 4 steps. Parentheses or brackets or any types of grouping. Exponents is number 2, right? Number 3 is multiplication or division. And if you look down here, it says multiplication or division left to right. Whichever one comes first, left to right. That's my 3rd step. And the 4th step is addition or subtraction, left to right as well. So we would follow these as steps in order to solve this particular order of operations problem that we have here. Now, this is an expression, so we're going to try to simplify these expressions and get an answer using these steps here, okay? If you ever get lost or if you ever start to do it, just look back and say, okay, what step am I on? And I would do it just like this. Step 1 says parentheses. Do I have parentheses here? No, I do not. Okay. Step 2, do I have exponents here? No, I do not. Okay, and I will go step by step. Now, you take a second, you leave your work there. I don't want you erasing your work. I'm going to do the same exact problem in modeling A, and you can compare your work with mine to see if you ended up doing it correctly. Deal? Let's do that. All right, so looking at modeling A, I see 3 plus 42 times 2 minus 5. So if I was to identify the operations I have here, I have addition, I have multiplication, and I have subtraction. I'll say it again: addition, multiplication, and subtraction. And I say to myself, which one goes first here? Is there any parentheses here? No. Is there any exponents here? No. So do I have any multiplication? Notice what I did, ladies and gentlemen. I went right back to this PEMDAS statement up here, and I started checking off what I have and what I don't have. I have parentheses. No, I don't. I lied. I don't have it. I have exponents. No, I don't. I don't have exponents, so I'm not going to use that. M, do I have any multiplication here? Yes, I do. I do have multiplication. Okay, so I'm going to deal with the multiplication first. And notice how I organize my work. I'm going to do 42 times 2 first. 42 times 2 is going to give me 84. And then I'm going to bring everything else down. I'm going to bring everything else down. Notice I brought down the minus 5, I brought down the 3 plus, and I just left 84 there. Okay. If you want, what I can actually do to make it where it stands out just a little bit more is I'll even put my things that I changed and I worked on, I'll put them in a different color. So 42 times 2 is 84. Now I know you don't have a colored pencil or anything like that that can keep changing your colors, but so you can see what I'm doing, I did 42 times 2, that gave me 84. I brought down 3 plus, I brought down minus 5. Now, I go back to PEMDAS and I ask myself, is there any division here, right? No, there's not. But I want you to understand something. When I asked myself if there was multiplication, I should have said, is there multiplication or division? Is there any one of these in this problem? There's no division in my problem, but there was multiplication, so I took care of that first. And I'll show you in, in fact, I'll talk about it now. Imagine if I had a problem that looked something like this. Uh, right? Something looks like this. Now, in here, no parentheses, no exponents. There's multiplication here, but notice there's also division here, right? Because this is step 3, I challenge you to understand something. This means whichever one comes first, left to right. So which one comes first, division or multiplication? Division comes first, left to right. So I would take care of the division first, and then I would deal with the multiplication. I'll say that again. There's both multiplication and division in my problem. And for some of you, you've learned, okay, do the multiplication first and then do division. But that's not true. Because this is step 3 and not 4, 3, and 4, right? As some people have learned, this is step 3. Whichever one comes first, left to right, is what you do first. So I'm going to do division first, and then I'm going to do multiplication. So in other words, if I were to rewrite it, it would look something like this: PDM, right? Because I'm doing division first here, and then I'm multiplying. Because these are both step 3, but whichever one comes first, left to right. And I just wanted to point that out here. It may show up, and it will show up throughout this worksheet. Make sure whichever one comes first, left to right, is the one that you work on. Don't just say, okay, I did multiplication, now let me do division. If division was in front of multiplication, you need to do division first, and then you need to do multiplication. Okay, and that's the same thing for addition and subtraction. If subtraction was ahead of addition, do subtraction first and then addition. Because if I change this right here to a minus sign and we simplify this, then we would only have minus and then a plus, and we would deal with the subtraction before we dealt with addition. Okay, just as a recap, this is 4 steps, PEMDAS, and we're focused on MDAS today, step 3 and 4. But it's whichever one comes first, left to right. So if D comes before M in your problem, if there's division before multiplication, do division. If there's subtraction before addition in your problem, do subtraction before addition. It's okay. That is the real order. I know you're like, but I've learned it 6 steps. I want you to relearn it as 4 steps, okay? Awesome. Let me just dive back into my problem here. I'm going to do it left to right. I see addition is first here, not because it comes first in AS, but because it's first out of addition and subtraction. So I do 3 plus 84, that gives me 87. Then I bring down the minus 5. I bring down the minus 5, right? Everybody see that? 87 minus 5, that gives me 82. 82 is my answer. So if you have 82 on your try it up here, you did a good job. You got the same thing. Let me quickly work on B. And as I said, B now has a component of an exponent. But what I want you to understand about exponents is this is to the second power. What does that mean? That doesn't, it means 2 times 2. Now, why does it mean 2 times 2? It's not because, okay, there's another 2 there, so just multiply them. But even if I had 3 to the second power, this means 3 times 3. It means multiply the base number 2 times. 1, 2 by itself, okay? Multiply it by itself. If I said 3 to the third power, this is not 3 times 3. This is 3 times 3 times 3 because there's 3 threes you're thinking about multiplying, okay? So that's just a kind of quick recap. Now, why did I put exponents here when I said I'm focusing on multiplication and division? I'll show you why. I'm just going to rewrite this problem as 16 minus 8 divided by 2 times 2 plus 14. Notice what I did. I took my exponent and I actually broke it down right here as multiplication. Okay? I took my exponent and I broke it down as multiplication. All right? Because I just wanted to show it here. Now, all honesty, according to the order of operations, I need to do exponents first. I need to take care of that first. But this is where I'm showing you something that you may have not learned before. If the problem was written like this, which is not, because these two things are different because it's order of operations, I want you to understand that we would first deal with division, and then we would deal with multiplication, because you see division first and then multiplication. It is not written like this, and because it's not written like this, we do not do it that way. It's written like this with the exponent. So I'm going to take care of the exponent first, okay? So let me go back. I just wanted to show you if it was written like that. It's not, okay? This is going to give me 2 to the second power. That's going to give me 4. So I'm going to bring everything down. 16 minus 8 divided by 4 plus 14. And some of you are like, well, Mr. Warford, did it make a difference? I'll show you on the side. I'll show you why it wasn't that in a little bit, okay? Now I have division here. I have 16 minus 2 plus 14. Okay. Okay, now I have just subtraction and addition once again, whichever one comes first, left to right. It's not addition first, subtraction is first, left to right. So this becomes 14 plus 14, which means my answer is 28. That's my answer here. All right, and some of you are like, well, Ms. River, what if it was written the way you said it? If it was written like this, okay, we would first deal with division because there's no exponents here. So we would deal with division first because it comes first before multiplication. It will give me 16, and I'm just going to show you my changes as I go through, minus 4 times 2 plus 14. Okay, I did these two right here. It gave me that minus 4. Now I'm going to deal with the actual operation of multiplication here, right? These two here is going to give me a negative 8. I'm going to bring everything down. Okay, and then I do it from left to right. So 16 minus 8 is going to give me an 8 plus 14. This is going to give me 22. Notice these answers are not the same because they're not following the same order of operations. Even though you're like, well, 2 squared is 2 times 2, you said it is, but it's not written like this. If it was written like this, we would follow the order of operations. Now, if this was in parentheses, right? If this was in parentheses, we would do that first, and it would look just like this here, but it's not. Okay, so once again, I'm gonna erase the wrong way because I don't want you to think this is the right way of doing it. The wrong way is the wrong way. All right, the right way is this way right here, written in black. Okay, I do exponents first and I solve it. Now, now your worksheet shouldn't have any exponents on it, but if there are any exponents, please take care of them first. Then follow M or D, A or S, whichever one comes first, left to right. Okay. Thank you so much. That is it for today. If there is a question, feel free once again to drop it in the Google Classroom or even stay at the school meeting, talk to me during class. This is a great lesson that we're diving into. We're going to talk about parentheses, we're going to talk about exponents, we're going to play around with a lot of different order operation problems. And this is just the beginning, okay? Thank you so much for joining me today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.